All right, here we are. Just got my water. Okay, we're on YouTube Live. I just muted myself there. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of Education Opportunities. It's my sole pleasure presenting this to you. I am Tokes W. Child, CEO of Ace Professionals and CV Gods and Ace University and more, and many more. But most importantly, I'm the educator bringing this to you. So let's get going. The time is fast spent already. You've got an offer, you've decided to start a career abroad, you want to get going. This is our handles. You have our website, www.aceprofessional.org. You can contact us via the website form and contact us. You can call us via our telephone number 0208-004-9336. This is in the UK. Obviously, from outside the UK, you use a +44. And you could send us an email that we will respond to on info@aceprofessional.org. Okay, let me just reduce my background noise because I'm competing with the noise here. Hopefully I'm more audible and you can hear me. So all I talked about so far, you've missed nothing. I talked about the handles and I welcomed you, introducing myself as Tox, the CEO of Ace Professionals and more. Now, today's presentation, what I would like for you to have, what's important, almost like a prerequisite, is to have the information that I'm giving to you, to have a call to action. So get your pen, get your book, like I have my book here and I have my pen next to it. So I will write down a call to action, what I want to do, what I want to get done, and then I will get to the action, okay? That's really important. An action plan will help you turn opportunities into viable options. So if you have an action plan, it will change things for you. It will turn your life around. It becomes another route for return on investment. So what we all have that we all commonly spend is 86,400 seconds per day. We all have this as currency to us. We all spend it. How we spend it is important. Do we get a return on investment? It is something that is imperative that we need to be checking and measuring. So having an action plan that you can go to at the end of the day, you can set a time. Most people that are very useful in terms of achievement in life have used this route. They basically always check up on how well they spent their day. Did they get what they intended to do? And they measure it, not with to-do list, but basically what they've covered, how well it could be covered and what they've learned. So those who are reflective obviously grow. If you check your plant and how well it grows every day and you remove the weeds around it, your plant's probability of success is much higher, not lucky. So here we go. The recipe for success. They say, where else would you think you should go? Where better to develop your teaching career than in the UK? It has a rich history of education progress. The best university of Glasgow, Bangor, Derry, Bristol, Oxford, Cambridge, London, Cardiff, Belfast, Edinburgh. I didn't say those ones that were not even listed. There's so many more. So you need to choose the United Kingdom if you are choosing for certain reasons, for the, the landscape, the beauty, the support, and the opportunities of return on investment. Okay, here we go. All children are entitled to a free education in state schools from the ages of 5 to 16, not 15 to 16. Private schools are attended by 6.5% of the population. All right, today I'm doing a different type of video. Usually I show you how things go in the UK. Today we're looking at the US, we're looking at the best jobs in education and basically if you want to get well paid. So for some people, remuneration is their motivation. That's why I'm going to this video here.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Calvin Rabb, and a special welcome to all my education majors. So in this video, I'm going to go over the top 10 highest paying jobs for education majors. And I am going to go from lowest to highest paying, but I encourage you not to go to number one right away, because I want you to listen to all the ones in between, because somewhere in here, you may find something that piques your interest that you may want to look a bit more into. Because remember, salary isn't the most important. So without further ado, let's jump into these 10 and let's start talking about the highest paying jobs for education majors. And if you're new here, my name is Calvin Rabb. I make videos all about personal finance and the job market. So if you're interested in anything like that, I would love it if you would subscribe. Coming in at number 10 is a training manager making over $66,000 per year. So a training manager, as the name kind of suggests, is going to be someone that is in charge of training the employees of a specific company, or maybe you work for a third-party company that trains employees. And you're going to be doing so much more than just training them some particular skill. You may also be doing some research into that company to seeing what skills do these employees lack that would help them, or more so help the company altogether, make it run more efficiently. So you will be doing some research there, and then also using your education skills to teach them those skills in such a way that allows them to kind of put their best foot forward and get the most work done and learn it in an efficient way. So training manager may be something that you want to look into. Number 9 is an after-school program director. And this person's going to be making over $76,000 per year. So it is kind of in the name what you're going to be doing here, but you're going to be coming up with different programs for students that are in the after-school program. So this will be looking at, what do you think these kids need to learn, but also taking into consideration what they like, what do they enjoy, coming up with different programs for different personalities or different people or different kids like different things, and trying to make it as enjoying as possible. Back when I was in grade school, I knew a lot of the after school program directors and different people that worked in the program. They're all really cool people, and their whole goal, was helping these kids have as much fun as they can while learning important concepts. And you are going to be just take into consideration, you are going to have to do a lot of, dealing with different personalities and different conflicts and different things like that. Not all kids will necessarily get along, but it can be a very rewarding job, and you will play a very important role in these kids' lives. Job number 8 is that of a lobbyist. And here, a lobbyist will be making base average salary over $78,000. And all these salaries, for the most part, are going to be base average salary without any benefits or anything like that. So a lobbyist, what you're going to be doing here is you're likely going to be working for a company. Sometimes they're public, sometimes they're private. And you are going to be working to try and get legislation passed that is in favor of that company. So you're going to be speaking with different elected officials, different groups, and different people who have political power that are making decisions that affect that company. And you are going to be arguing on behalf of that company to try and get legislation passed that does help them. You are lobbying for that specific company. Coming in at number 7 is a standardized test developer making over $83,000 base average salary per year. Now, this one is in the name what you're going to be doing, but you are going to be developing and creating these standardized tests. Us students always think, oh, they just pop out of thin air. No, they don't. They are created by teams of these test developers that take into consideration, looking at the curriculum, what skills do these students have,
So, Mr. Daniel, did you take down how much this standardized test creators make? I'm not sure Mr. Daniel did take that. I'm going to go back just to make sure people understand text. Let's see. I missed that because I'm taking a note here. Okay.
pop out of thin air. No, they don't. They are created by teams of these test developers that take into consideration, looking at the curriculum, what skills do these students have, what should they have, and how can we test that in such a way that it's fair across the table. And they will take in there's a lot of different psychological elements that go in here. And from your education courses, you've probably made a lot of different course and different programs that are out there that you've probably created yourself. And that's really what you would be doing here. Now, this is an interesting position in that I don't know what it's going to do in the future, because a lot of schools are starting to drop those big standardized tests, the SAT and ACT. For instance, I go to UCLA, and UCLA, in fact, I think most of, if not the entire UC system, UCLA was one of the first ones to do it, but they dropped ACT and SAT from their admissions requirements in that, usually when you apply, when I applied the first time, I had to go and send them my SAT scores and things like that, but they're now dropping that. So it's interesting to see where this is going to go, how it's going to affect college admissions. And it's an interesting thing that I'm excited to see what happens. Coming in at number 6 is an academic dean making over $85,000 per year base average salary. So an academic dean, and I'm sure if you've gone through any type of school, whether it be K through 12 or even you went to university or anything like that, then you've probably at least seen or understood the job of an academic dean. But they are in charge of all things academic. So they are in charge of the budget, seeing which department needs more money. Is this underfunded? How much money do they have? How much do they need to actually run? They'll be in charge of enforcing, of course, the rules and dealing with any academic issues at their particular education institution. And it's a very important job. It's a very prestigious one, especially at UCLA. The academic dean is very important because you are in charge of academics. And at an academic institution, if you're in charge of academics, you're in charge of the core purpose of why kids are there. So being an academic dean is something that is pretty prestigious, and it is a very important position. And there's a lot that goes into it. You're going to have to make a lot of different decisions about the future of academics, and you're going to be looking at the school's plan and seeing, are we in line with that? Coming in at number 5 is an assistant principal making over $86,000 per year. So an assistant principal is going to take on a lot of the duties and look a lot like a principal in the actions that this person is going to do. But mainly an assistant principal is going to be in charge of really just enforcing the rules and guidelines. And not only will they be in charge of enforcing them, but they will also be creating these different rules, talking to different board members and in kind of connection with the principal, coming up with different rules that they believe are best for that particular academic institution and making sure that everything is carried out properly, making sure that the mission of that school is carried out in such a way that it is in line with its overall mission. Coming in at number 4, and after saying assistant principal, your mind probably went to, at some point, he's probably going to say principal. And you are right, because we're going to say it right now. So number 4 is principal. And we break through that $100,000 barrier with an average base salary of now $106,000. So a principal at a very high level is just the head of the administrative team at a certain school. And they are being in charge of the administrative team means that you juggle a lot of different balls here. You are going to be in charge of overseeing not only, making sure all the rules are being brought out, or not just making sure the rules are enforced, but you're going to be in charge of all the different parts of the academic institution, all the different areas of study, whether it be, back in grade school, history and math, and the same thing can go for larger institutions, but you are now in charge of everything, making sure things like sports are running smoothly. And a lot of times you're going to be just dealing with different fires, dealing with different issues that come up. And oftentimes you are the final say. So you have to be a very good business person, a very good critical thinker, someone that is very patient and understanding, because you can get a lot of different personalities clashing at school, and the job can sometimes be a big headache, but you are playing an unbelievably important role in so many lives. It's very rewarding, and you just grow a very close relationship with that school. And oftentimes whenever I've had professors leave, they're always quite emotional about it, because you get you're so close with that school. And I always I've had the good fortune of having a lot of great principals in my time, and they've all been very, very interesting and very fascinating and smart people. Coming in at number 3 is going to be a school superintendent, and this is going to be making about $118,000 base average salary. And one thing that I do want to mention that I haven't been mentioning for the past few is when I talked about assistant principal, and now school superintendent, oftentimes more than a bachelor's degree is required. So sometimes you'll see a few instances where they may just have a bachelor's degree, but for the most part, most of them go and get master's degrees. So with a lot of these jobs, you're going to look at, is it accessible from a bachelor's perspective, or do I have to go and further my studies and get a kind of a higher degree? So you're going to want to look into that. Oftentimes, even if it's open to just bachelor's, you may need to get a master's in order to make yourself competitive, because there's not oftentimes a ton of these jobs. But let me get back to the school superintendent. So a school superintendent is going to be in charge of a particular school district. So principal is more so of a school. Now you're in charge of an entire district. And now you're in charge of making sure the schools are all running efficiently. There will be different issues that come up at different schools, and you got to make sure that those are all settled and kind of handled properly. You're also going to be dealing a lot with finances. So whenever I read like in the paper about school superintendents or different things that they're discussing, it's oftentimes about money. And that's just because they are very much so in charge of where that money goes, how it's going to be spent. And that is oftentimes a tough issue for a lot of people. So this is definitely something that your education degree would help with. You got to work with a lot of people, and you got to understand the basics of what goes into proper education. Coming in at number 2 is a recreation director, and they're going to be making over $121,000 per year. So a recreation director, what they'll do is, it's also kind of in the name, but you often must be working for like a big park or big organization, sometimes public, sometimes private, and you're going to be coming up with different activities that they could do, planning and implementing different recreational activities for that particular park, and just kind of organizing where the money will go, where it's going to be spent. You'll be dealing with a lot of hiring and subsequently firing of different people, and just making sure that everything runs smoothly, and just making sure that there are programs and plans in place, that all the times are working properly, and that it's what the people want. Meaning, maybe you're working for or in a specific community and they want this particular thing. You got to kind of juggle that, take that into consideration when making the budget, where things are going to go, and just make sure that everyone is kind of enjoying themselves and as many people are happy as possible. And sometimes if you're working at a park, you may got to deal with different sports leagues coming in, and it's a pretty big job. And there's a lot of different things that you got to consider and a lot of moving parts. Number 1 is a chief academic officer, and this person will be making over $133,000 base average salary. So what this person is going to be doing is they're going to be in charge of all things academics at the particular institution that they work at. So maybe they're on the board of directors at a particular college, or maybe they're in charge of a certain K-12 school. This can go up through all the ranks of education. But what you're going to be doing here is you're in charge of all things academics. So you're going to be spending a lot of time on the curriculum, every single year, looking back and being critical of the curriculum, seeing, what went well, what didn't go so well, and making changes, tweaking it there. Maybe there are different additions to the curriculum that, this specific major now has to have this specific skill. If there are big fundamental changes, like when Common Core really shook things up, then this is something that a chief academic officer would definitely have to take into consideration. And they also going to work on planning different curriculums and courses in such a way that they see it fitting the particular job market or the mission of the school. And there's a lot that goes in here, but you are in charge of what these students learn. So you are one of the most important people in all of academics. And because of that, it is a pretty high paying job as well. All right, so that will wrap it up.
All right, so that wraps up the highest paid job in education. I'm going to move on.
Hey guys, how's it going?
There's so much more. In fact, if you compare countries, which countries are paying the most? I'd say from understanding, I understand New York in United States pays a lot on people who are teachers. a lot of remuneration compared to some other countries. But also in the UK, you have academies. Academies also pay very decent salary. So I've worked with people on 120K or 145K, and people who are executive principals, handling a couple of schools. And the more the role grows, some people earn close to £250,000, and they go on to do something for the government. So this is per annum. So it can be very, very rewarding working in education by understanding what you're doing. These people are very passionate, and they do make a huge impact. Now let's go to what we have here. At ACE, we always spur people forward with positive quotes to push you along. People without clearly defined purpose procrastinate. They push things backwards. They put off achieving their goals because you can't hit a target you can't even see. So people want to do things. People want to get visas, want to work in education, want to get well-paid in job. But if you don't have this target, how are you going to get there? Chances are your probability is very low. Forget about luck for now. Luck is a human concept, but probability is very low. So think people like ACE working with us, we would increase your probabilities of the chances of your return on investment, both time, effort-wise, and money-wise, becomes really, really higher. Section 1. So we talk about national curriculum. What's the United Kingdom education options? Let's see, what do they have in the UK? First and foremost, just to clarify, who is this offer for? You have a real passion for students, you're an educator, you have a degree, you have a passport, accept realistic timescales. All these things here take processes. They're not something overnight. It's not this express service. You pay for it, you pay 1 million, you get it tomorrow. It doesn't work that way here. You kind of follow the process. Okay, school leaving age in England is 16. Scotland, 16, Northern Ireland, 16, Wales, 16. But in England, they put in an extra barrier there saying that you can only work part-time until you are 18. You cannot work full-time. Here we go. Types of schools in England. You have grammar school, faith schools, community schools, academies, free schools, special needs school, alternative provision, and university colleges. So I'm going to give a quick oversight of what the schools do. So grammar schools, these are the top of the top academic schools. Now, they are hard to get into. They take about 10% of the people that apply. So they have 300 spaces every year. You have 3,000 people applying. So just to give you an idea of how well people need to do to get into the grammar school, you've got to have or score something above 90% in your mathematics and in your English if you want to get into the grammar school. And you got to be coming up in your interview very, very sharp. Faith schools are Catholic schools, Jewish schools, Muslim schools. They're all fabulous schools. Now, they are disciplined. They keep the work according to the faith. Now, these schools, you wouldn't have your child going up and coming up, misbehaving. They have strict rules that they abide by. So that's faith schools. And they're also very, very high achieving. Community schools. You have community schools are schools that you have around your area, your local area. They serve the community. So they serve the population. Now, depending on the type of area you are, if you're in an affluent area, the community school might be great. If you are not in such a great area, if people around your catchment area are of the low entry in terms of classes, your school might not be great. Your kids might not be challenged. They might just actually draw back. Academies are now businesses that have taken over failing schools. So big business such as, British Airways or whatever would take over some failing schools as part of a charity that they do, and they'll pump some millions their way. So academies are well-funded, fantastic schools, but they have different models. They run like a business. So you're either performing. If you're not, they'll get rid of you very quickly. Free schools are schools that they've given to people who can't afford. So they provide you free school meals. They provide you support in the morning and after school, all this kind of things. You can get some kind of supplement so the parents don't have to pay for things. So the parents can go and look for work. So that's free schools. Special needs is for you if you are gifted and talented, or You have on the other side of the spectrum, you have disabilities, you have issues, either physical or mental. So you go into a special needs school. Alternative provision are for people who cannot behave properly. So you're failing to listen to your parents, your teachers, you cannot settle down, you're a gang member, you cause some trouble. Alternative provision is where they'll put you. Colleges are for those people who can perform well academically, but they're good vocational wise. So they could listen, do things hands-on, but they're not very good in understanding the theory, the concept. So there you go. They'll put you in a college. Let's move on. Again, another beautiful quote: to push you forward. Having a well-defined plan to achieve your goal is just as important as knowing what opportunity to take on. So like I would say, we had 10 jobs that we put out. The salary range from $66,000 to $133,000. If your plan is to be the top earning person, your plan would be very different from somebody who's trying to go for 66K. So you need to know, what are you aiming for? How are you targeting it? Let's look at the national curriculum, a selection of subjects and standards just for children to be learning the same kind of balanced diet when it comes to education. So public school, independent or free schools and academies are not required to administer the national curriculum, but they do actually do it because it's useful. They also want their kids to be compared. There's that thing about peer pressure. First bucket, you have English, maths, and science. Key thing. ICT, geography, history. Now, in some of these subjects, people are struggling for geography, history, and physical education teachers. So if you have these teachers, we have your jobs and we're advertising and we're asking for you to apply and take these jobs on. They come with sponsorship. Now, the part where people do not have to take, per se, in terms of mandatory, you have to pick an option between modern foreign languages, there's Latin, French, German, Japanese, whatever you pick or whatever your school offers, what's on the menu. The design and technology, arts and design, or music, you choose which ones. There's a non-statutory for the whole school. So some schools do this like once every 2 weeks. Religious education in some schools is on the timetable. PSHE is to help people, and citizenship is to also get people to become better citizens. How is this graded? So GCSE exam is graded between 1 to 9, 9 being A star and 1 being F, you failed. So that's how it's graded. So you can either take a double award, triple award, a single award in English, literature, English language, maths, and science. The choice is yours. If you take a triple award, for example, in science, it will allow you to become a medical profession easily. You can pursue that. Your understanding will be high compared to people who took a single award in it. So there are so many different understandings. Like if you have a triple award in mathematics, you can go off and do engineering quite easily. Okay. Now you have A-levels, GCSE students, whether or not to remain in standard education center, those who would choose to remain to work towards obtain their A-levels. Now A-levels, it's advised to take 3 A-levels, but some people take 4. It can be challenging, but it does help you. So it's almost like if you're from West Africa, where we come from, where our university is 4 years, these people have to do 3 years. So some parts, the second year of the A-level is almost like the first year of university. International baccalaureate. So every British type or international school kind of does this curriculum. I've done this curriculum. We learned several topics, almost subjects, actually, with about 14 to 15 subjects. So international baccalaureate is something that is used across every English-speaking school, British school, operated school in different countries all around the world. Apprentice. So you want to train on the job, basically, you would have to go to apprenticeship schemes. Pilot is offered in, I think, by British Airways through apprenticeships. There's only 3 major airlines that do apprenticeship, and you have to have a British passport to get into any of those. And what you save is huge. You know, you still be paying £90,000 to enroll for the course. You can get the courses done. discounted. You don't have to pay for it. Excellent. B-Tech. So B-Tech is basically for people who learn vocationally. You want to do hairdressing, you want to do sports tech, you want to do cooking. So this is where you learn hands-on. You go ahead and cook, and then you get graded over different types of work. National vocational qualifications, another type of vocational based learning. So, but this one is nationally known. So basically, your certificate is recognized nationally. All right, here we go. Assessment, standardized tests that we have. At the primary school level, we have SATs. They have a baseline to check whether your kids reading according to their age, below their age, or above their age. And then we have, GCSEs, almost like for WAEC, what you take before you get into the A levels, and then you move on to do your exam before you go to your universities. All right. Section 3. Does your teaching qualification university degree qualify to teach in the following subjects? So let's see. What are the offers? We have all these offers. If you can teach math, science, biology, chemistry, physics, French, and German, and these other subjects, Italian, Japanese, Latin, Mandarin, Russian, and Spanish, you are allowed to apply for your QTS wherever you are coming from. So the countries that they've included that can apply for instant QTS, I was speaking to a friend who was applying this morning. You have 6 months to apply. Australia is now there, Canada, European Union, Gibraltar, Hong Kong, New Zealand, Swaziland, Switzerland, Ukraine, and the USA. If you're from African countries, you can only qualify if you teach languages, maths, and science. So you can see English is not part of it if you've missed that. Notice that. So if you're from Ghana, you're an English teacher, you're not part of it. If you're mathematics or science teachers or languages teacher in Ghana, Nigeria, Jamaica, Singapore, South Africa, Zimbabwe, you are part of it. You can apply. To teach in a state-funded school, you will need your QTS, international or initial teacher training program. So they always have a first-year training program, like an induction program to get grips with the teaching way and styles over here. Also, there's a numeracy and literacy test. They don't believe you're just a teacher or a degree. You have to pass the numeracy and literacy test. This is different from IELTS. If you teach certain subjects, you may apply for QTS only after a few years. So you would need to meet the national standards through an English maintained school. So you need to be in an English maintained school, and you need to show you have some experience. Section 4, here we go. What are the visa routes? There are different routes to become an educator in the United Kingdom. You can go to the EU route, that is European Union. If you're a citizen of that, you can get through. Now, this is where it's very interesting. There is the YMS, Youth Mobility Skill Visa, which used to be Tier 5. Now, if you are between the ages of 18 and 30, and you have 1,800 in your savings, you don't need a job. You can totally apply for this visa and get through and come straight away. Point-based system immigration. You can acquire a visa through a point-based system. So this one is going to score you on your experience, your age, your degree. It will score you around different criteria they set. And based on the scores you get, you would know where you stand. Visas for teaching in the UK. So if your grandparents, great-grandparents, or parents are from the UK and can prove it, yes, you have enough money in your savings without the help of public funds, you can come to the UK and teach. Very straightforward. Now, planning. It's important not just to make a plan before you begin, but also to change directions when things go wrong. The sooner you change direction, the faster you reach your goal. Section 5. What does ACE provide? What does this company, this offering that we're given, how can we support you? There we go. Our support is to giving you products such as your CV, your references. We get you things that are standardized. Sorry, just Somebody there. Okay, go. So also we can give you services such as interview skills, training, and help you with your portfolio, or we can give you both. Now, there's so many things that we do. Why are we well placed in the market? We've been dealing with employers, and we know that people want improved candidates, measured, reflective, constantly growing workers. People don't want anybody who's not in this particular group. So you can always keep this, you can write this down. This will tell you what employers are looking for. Now, what do we give to make you improved, to make you measured, to make you reflective? We give you workshop, we give you training courses, we give you interview skills reference, personal statement templates. We provide you with tools, skills, and more, and we monitor you. So these are the things that we do as a company. That's why we give you the edge. You're not just out there as a professional. You're a sharp, reflective professional with tools and skills provided. So you're not coming to the game without some kind of support. You have, a serious high-level support that is always competitive. That is, we are always checking out who is ahead of us, and we're trying to be the next thing there, the next frontier in education. So here we go. We give trainings. We can help you with your training and your portfolio if you're getting into education, or you can get your portfolio only. So, right, like my friend who's applying for the teaching, his license is different. It's from an ancient time, an old time, 20 years ago. So he's not getting his QTS quite straightforward. He needs to get the new license. And you know how things go within our countries, things can take forever. So there's a whole lot of kind of supports that we can give to provide and make that to make it look like you basically know what you're doing. You have evidence to prove it, and you are ready to take on the challenges that the UK may bring in. Okay. Go ahead and dream big and have complete faith that God will do everything possible to manifest your most wildest dreams. Now, this coming to talk about luck and fate. If you do everything to increase your probability, there's a high chance that your probability going up, you will land that, within a matter of time. So if CNN, BBC, Sky News are the kind of companies that are interviewing you, within a couple of months, you're going to land one of these jobs. But if you're not interviewed by that, if you're interviewed by off-license, McDonald's and KFC is what you're getting, probability is also saying you're likely to get that type of job. There we go. The information meeting, decision-making link. So this is our process. What we've had here is the information meeting. We have a link that we normally send out. This is not here with us today. Internet's got her out. She would normally send you a decision-making link. So you can reach us out on our email. We'll send you a link, and we would give you the offer of what you may need. So payment confirmation package expectation, you get the package. Once you've made the payments, it's all straightforward. Key things that you need to look out for that they may need: proof of identity, proof of qualifications, proof of English language ability, proof that you're recognized as a teacher, proof of work history, and certified translations. All of these are key things you need to look out for whilst you're applying for your QTS within the first 6 months. So these are the key things. Remember, sponsorship with education is much cheaper than healthcare, is much cheaper than anything. Not to you per se, I'm just saying to the employer. Because it's cheaper to the employer, the chances that if you're any good that they will take you is so, so high. So what we need to do is to make sure that we make you good, and to the employer, the cost is low. It's just common sense for them to make sure that they invest in you. You're giving them more for their money. You need to complete your application within 6 months, like I've said that a couple of times. You need to check, do you qualify? Click the link below to check the train to get your portfolio ready. Knowledge attracts abundance when it is organized and intelligently directed through plans of action. So again, get your action plan before you get into your action. Do not jump and just start doing the actions. You can do the experiments, but it's more costly. So do this, organize your plan, and then you can move on. Let me give the people a chance to contribute on tonight to our guest on YouTube. Yes, sir. Mr. Daniel, do you want to say some things to people on YouTube about the offers that we're offering?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm so pleased to be here tonight. Previous edition said I'm in traffic or I'm stuck somewhere, unable to contribute one way or the other. So thank God I'm here tonight, and I'm in a good environment to speak. It's a nice presentation tonight. Thank you very much. God bless you. You've actually shed light on some shaded areas for me. But there's this part of this process that is a kind of, I don't understand. So I need more explanation in those areas. You know, I'm a regular visitor to the UK's website. I'm always there checking out informations, annual take home, I mean net salary for almost jobs in the UK. I see all of those, and some jobs that you rate very high in your mind, but by the time you get on that site to check information, you discover that the salary is around £30,000 annually, and you kind of ask yourself questions that how do you cope with other expenses when the annual take home is 30,000 and this job is a high rated job? And it's I keep asking myself that question, that why is it that low? So yeah, so if you can shed light on that, or there are other ways money comes in apart from the annual salary, or what? Take for example, a manager role in IT. I think I saw it was around £35,000 annually. So wow, that's quite low. So how is it like that?
Okay, let me answer you. Actually, thank you for asking about IT and giving that example. Just not too long ago, I was looking at jobs. That's this afternoon in my research. I was looking at jobs in IT that pay over £100,000. So, for example, network engineer, and with every job, there's something called an entry level, and then there's a medium experience, and then there's a senior person. So the entry level of this network engineer, for example, is 76,000. And as you move up, as you become a senior, you can get up to 100 and, whatever, to 26,000. Then the next one is cybersecurity. Entry level, 93,000. As you go up, you can get up to 146,000 pounds. Now, all of these are fantastic jobs. The jobs you're looking at, this is how you can, from all my years of spending time with motivation leaders, this is what I've learned. The work that you do, the people that you serve, the number of people you serve, is directly proportional to how much you get. So take it that if I were teaching this as I've taught tonight, when I was teaching in a classroom, if all the people I serve is 30 or 40 people, my remunerations will be directly proportional to the people I serve. If you came here and you did an app, and let's say the app is used by all the malls in the UK, forget 30,000, you could be on 2 million, whatever. It depends on how much people use your product. Amazon, I remember when I was started, Amazon was like they were selling books platform and stuff, and we didn't see any big deal. People didn't talk about eBay. There was eBay, there was eBuyer. There were so many other, there was Ask Jeeves. There were so many other questions and beautiful sites. But overnight, Amazon kept doing Amazon Music, Amazon Movies, Amazon selling different products. The more they kept expanding the people they sold to, the higher the demand for their products and the more their remunerations will go up. So that is what I would say to you is like the biggest thing. Yeah. So if you want to get far more than 30,000, first thing is to get here. Number two is to look at how can you get to serve a bigger public. The bigger the public you can serve, the better for you. So if you serve just a few people or just one company, it isn't surprising that they're planning to pay you 30,000. So let's imagine, I'll give you an example. I advertised a job last 2 years, solutions manager. It was 80,000. Some of the things that you do is you were handling clients such as the BBC, different networks, and they were handling how they advertise. When people click online, why the search will bring up BBC first, and it will bring up any other companies next. So your issue is to make all your clients get the best for their money. Now, those companies that you are working with, they already have the system in place. Yours is just to have conversation to ask the BBC, what are you trying to promote? What is the direction of your goal? How can we help you to promote that? And be in those meetings, take those information, now put that into your system and your algorithms and make sure that that works. Because the BBC is serving the entire nation, there's more huge margins. So they will pay to your company. Of the huge amounts they're paying to your company, you're taking a small percentage of it. So even whether you're experienced, you're not experienced, you're not even in the UK or in the UK, you're still getting your £80,000. So that's just giving you an idea of how jobs in the IT industry will give you a lot. Or different jobs. I mean, I have mortgage analysts and they are looking at 60,000. And that was about, 8 years ago? A long time ago. But depends on who you serve. If you come and entry level means you're not sure what you're doing, you don't have a portfolio, you don't have a group of clients, and you're struggling. So a teacher who teaches in the UK, for example, will get all the average salary, all the simple things that they will get. They get simple salaries, such as from 40,000 to 60,000 to 70,000. But if that teacher expands their horizon, if they're teaching across board, give you an example. Let's imagine that teacher does an app to help people with their exam, or does a series and says, this is A-level. And that teacher groups up and start teaching A-level and is teaching across the country or is selling books across the country. The returns on investment for that teacher changes. It doesn't match up with the salary. It is dependent, directly proportional to directly proportional to the people you serve. Let me give other people chances to ask questions. Mr. White, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, boss.
Yes, sir. Is there any contributions you'd like to make to our brothers and sisters on Facebook?
Oh, as of now, everything is okay. As it is being said, I'm enjoying the program, so I'm listening. It's been a long time I've come on the program.
Okay.
So for now, I'm gathering some notes. Maybe next time I'll give in an input.
Okay. All right. Madam Agnes, you want to ask any questions? Good evening. Thank you for coming in.
I don't have any question for now. I'm just joining and trying to connect.
I totally understand. I totally understand.
Yeah, Mr. Talks, please, I have two quick questions.
Yeah.
Just two. Number one is
So
good
maybe
to
next time I'll me.
All right. We lost you for Elizabeth.
okay, so is a good to go company when it comes to getting jobs in the UK in any what's it called now? In any what's the term now? Any job, in any profession, is there any limit? Now we're talking about education. Is it open to other job opportunities in other perspective, or is it only on education and on IT?
Okay. So ACE seems to focus on white collar jobs. We don't do construction work and blue collar jobs, carpentry and stuff, vocational jobs. No. If your job is in the education industry, IT industry, finance industry, basically because the way the system works here is the agencies, we take a percentage of your annual salary. Any job where your annual salary cannot be calculated and our commission would be confused, it would not work for us. That's the categories of where we work. Also, we have to pick a niche. So we found out that because I've been an educator for so many years, we found out that if we work with people who earn above 40,000 and more, they understand us, we understand them. Our fees they're not even considered high enough for those people. They're okay, they appreciate us. But when we work with people who earn 20,000 or less than 30,000, they have difficulty in putting them because they imagine the appreciation they give to the work that we do is directly proportional to how much they earn. And they struggle because they don't have a huge margin of dispensable income. So because of that, it's like you're squeezing them and you're squeezing so much from the little that they have. So we don't work with those markets. So if you have any job from IT to sports, anything that's high, well-paying, ACE will be able to work with you because we work on soft skills, we work on hard skills, and we work on the key things that you need to help you progress in your work. Accountability, responsibility, and a clear projection, understanding where you're going. So that's what ACE works at.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
So
one last question. During your presentation, you mentioned types of schools in the UK. You mentioned the grammar school. I think one of those schools you mentioned was free schools. I think you mentioned free schools.
Yeah.
So is it free education for children that their parents are not capable enough to sponsor them in premium schools? That's number one. Number two, compared to Nigeria type of free education, because a school where you're not paying so much, maintenance of that school will be so low, and if the maintenance of the school is low, the motivation when it comes to teaching will also be low. So does it affect the
quality?
Does it affect the delivery? Yeah, the quality of delivery to the students of such a school?
No, it doesn't. So you say 93.5% of the schools that are state schools are all regarded as a mandatory. It's free you don't have to pay for kids to go to school until they're 16. There's no payments required from any parents. Now, in free schools, what makes free schools a bit more interesting is this. If you have a single parent or a parent is not earning enough money, or the parent cannot support a child with paying for their after school activities or paying for their lunch, if they go to a free school, the free school would have some forms for the child, register the child as a people premium kid. So basically the government pays for it. They pay for the food that the child eats, they pay for the extra activities. So they do a whole lot of support. Sorry about that. They do a whole lot of support on for the child in free schools. It doesn't affect the quality because the government pays those teachers, the council pays those teachers. So because the council pays the teachers, there's no need for the quality to go down. So I've worked with all of those schools and the salary is kind of the same, the standardized. The salary over here is based on location. If you are in London, they believe that the cost of living for you is high. So your salary must reflect the environment and the cost of living around you. So they'll give you a higher salary to cope with the house prices, to cope with the demand on food prices, transportation, all of that will be reflected in the salary you get. So it's the quality is quite good in most schools. The free schools, the quality is good. It's not comparable with the grammar schools because the intake, the group of kids that come into the grammar schools are already smart. So the teachers challenge them. The questions they ask in the grammar schools improve the thinking of those kids. You don't have kids going there to misbehave. You have all these intelligent kids trying to outshine each other. So the kind of homework they give them, the behavior they display is very different from kids that are struggling to get their food. They're very, very different circles. They're not comparable in terms of performance. But it's in terms of diets or menu or curriculum that they give them, it's the same curriculum. It's just that they teach some people at a very high level. The kind of questions they ask them is critical thinking. They apply their knowledge and they apply what they've learned from other subjects. And for some kids in other schools or other environments, they ask them generally, what is photosynthesis? They ask them basic questions on what they can observe. And that's it. Yeah. So pretty much that's where we are. So I'm dealing with so many people trying to log on, and people are either having internet problems or issues. Number one, I want to use the opportunity to thank everybody for being here tonight. I want to thank you. Usually I invite people over the years. I've invited people to so many of my programs. They don't take it up when it is free, but when it is paid, some of this information I'm giving you is valuable information that people pay dearly to get. And there's more training, and there's more skills, and there's more supporting people and introducing them to jobs that is high paying. So I have lots of jobs that are high paying, but we don't have people to get those jobs because the people are not well trained and they don't have the skills, they don't have the tool, they don't know what to do. A very short example is I sent somebody for the mortgage analyst job, and he said he's been on drugs. He's been drugged up before he said this at an interview. And that was terrible. Despite the training we gave him, he did not pay attention to it. So those kind of things are massive red flags. So the employer cannot employ him. He can't, there's so many other people who would say, oh, I will not take a job if it's not 50,000. You haven't told the employer why they should pay you 50,000 or more. So, sitting in your mind and telling yourself, this is how much I'm worth. It's not realistic in the real world. That's why people struggle. That's why there's a lot of jobs more than people taking the jobs. So yeah, I'm loaded with too many opportunities, but not enough people to get them, or not enough skilled people to take these opportunities. So I can tell you, Mr. Daniel, if you work on yourself and you improve yourself and you focus and you take responsibility, you're going to be surprised. You'll be paid the same IT. I know people are earning £300,000. with the house and the car and everything, all part of the job. So different packages for different people, depends on where they place themselves. All right. I want to thank you so much for your time. I want to thank you for your effort. I thank you for the internet you spent with me. I appreciate all of it. I want to wish you a wonderful week. Join us again this weekend. We're not doing anything particularly, but the next weekend we're doing effective communication, which is big, which helps relationships, helps professionals in their jobs, helps seal contracts, helps seal proposals, grants, scholarships, even assignments, wherever it is that you're doing. Effective communication is a key part, as we are all in sales, whether we like it or not. So I thank you. I want you to be a part of next week's Wednesday. We're doing something similar as this. We will change the spin every time we change the video. Today we talked about salaries. Next time we might talk about job rewards, people who are in the best jobs in history of jobs or employment. So it's always interesting, different things that we look at. So if you're in YouTube, we thank you also for your efforts. Drop us a like, subscribe, spend more time with all of this dynamic thinking, and basically be critical about yourself. What you put inside yourself is what you get back. What you sow is what you reap. So I wish you the very best. I hope you have a comfortable weekend and the best of the year. Take good care. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Talks. Thank you so much.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome very much.